Hey guys, this is Courtney, and today I wanted to give an announcement that I am going to be rebranding my channel name and my whole brand, website, all of that to Cosmic Clarity Astrology. So make sure that you guys go ahead and write that down, save that information in case you ever do search for my channel and can't find it no longer under this name. So today's video, we're going to be talking about the Jupiter Uranus Conjunction, and that's happening on April 20th in the sign of Taurus at 21 degrees. This is a rare transit that happens around roughly every 14 years, and it is one of the most significant events that's happening in 2024 that astrologers are looking forward to. This is really exciting because both Jupiter and Uranus can have positive energies. Jupiter especially. Uranus is a little bit of a wild card. So when they come together, these slow planets that really do affect kind of the way our society functions, when they finally come together and unite, they almost have a little rendezvous and give us the potential to have some kind of breakthrough or timeline jump essentially in this lifetime. So I see this almost as like a quantum leap, a breakthrough, a time of hope and prosperity and progress and reinvention or simply invention into something new. And so this is a really exciting time. And we're going to go over what this is going to look like for all of the rising signs. What I'm getting or what I'm going to be predicting for you guys is what you're going to be blessed with or what the breakthrough is going to be for you happening in April. It's very likely that we're already starting to kind of feel some of these energies shifting and these storylines lining up so that throughout the month of April, this energy becomes more obvious, more potent. And you might see something significant happen in the month of April, especially if you have any angles, most likely the angular houses. So like the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th house cusps around 21 degrees. Or if you have especially Taurus 21 degrees, which is where this is happening, or the fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, you're going to feel this really significantly. And then you'll also still feel it if you have that also. Planets also around 21 degrees of earth or water signs. So those are who it's going to be really impacting the most. If it's not hitting anything in your chart at all, then maybe you won't really get a huge jolt or a huge breakthrough. Maybe you're doing just fine, or maybe it's just not your time for that. And then others are going to notice a really significant shift. But as a society, as a whole, we can start to see things progress, but it's usually something that we can most clearly see retroactively. So once we've kind of passed this point in time, years later, we can look back and see, oh, that is a turning point for us. That was marking this time in history, or there was some sort of advancement that was heralding a new chapter into our lives as a collective or even in our personal lives. So it's a really, really exciting time. Jupiter is the great benefic. It's the bringer of blessings and children and abundance, and it's a very social planet as well. So it has sorry, I just saw my cat walk outside. So it has a lot of potential to bring in new relationships and connections and opportunities. And then Uranus is a planet of innovation, of progress, a little bit of rebellion as well, change, surprise, technology. And both of them tend to bring a lot of clarity, a lot of wisdom, and the potential for great healing. So I'm excited to see how this can impact us on a more personal scale. But before we do that or talk about each sign, we're going to jump into first discussing what this has looked like in the past, and then maybe get like a really quick overview of what this could look like for the collective. So the last time Jupiter and Uranus came together was in January 2001, really early in January. So it's really something that you would have felt in December and the first week of January. So these planets came together in the sign of Pisces. And during this period of time, we had SpaceX become the first privately owned company to launch, orbit, and recover a spacecraft. So this is extremely Uranian, and obviously Jupiter is also about things progressing and moving forward, more so from a place of personal growth, societal growth, internal expansion as well as spiritual expansion. But and also Jupiter has a very strong link with things that are foreign. So bringing various elements together, and Uranus also has this type of quality where we are kind of bridging different types of maybe technologies or fields and kind of melding them together and creating something new and unique. And so we can see a lot of unique advancements through the coming together of these two planets. So we could see here that obviously this had a lot to deal with things progressing in terms of leaving this world, which I love that because it feels very kind of Aquarian and Pisces in nature, that there's a technological advancement that quite literally has us leave Earth, which I think is super cool. Also during this Jupiter Uranus conjunction in 2011, we had Obama repeal a policy that banned people who are gay from openly saying they were gay or joining the military under that pretense or something of that nature. So I'm probably not wording that correctly, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. So obviously this is very much a Piscean theme and also Aquarius. We can really see the blend of the two because Uranus is there, but we can really see how people who were previously considered underdogs are getting some kind of breakthrough. And that's common with Jupiter and Uranus. We can see reversals of roles and fortunes. So people, especially who were winning and who had the upper hand, but who were not good or it was outdated or it was wrong, we can see those things start to have a little bit of a shift happen with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. And I think that's really even more emphasized because Pluto being in the sign of Aquarius, the sign of the people, we are really in an age or an era where the emphasis is on the collective and the individual, the layperson, and not the governmental forces. And so it's a time of empowering each person and fighting for our own unique rights. And so we can start to see how maybe some power can shift into the hands of the people, especially healers, because Jupiter and Uranus together are both very spiritual planets. And so not only are we more adept at healing things that we might be stuck in terms of cyclical patterns and things that have been just feeling like we cannot get out of them. Uranus and Jupiter together can really, again, jump this timeline. It can get us out of some cycle of suffering. It can help us see things from a higher perspective, give us solutions to existing problems. It can give us this higher level awareness that our human brain doesn't have access to on an ordinary level or on an ordinary day. So it's really an opportunity for us to open up to extra senses. We might feel quite literally more sensitive during this time, and the information that comes to us should really be noted because it is significant for the path forward. The previous time that Jupiter and Uranus came together in the same sign as Taurus was in May of 1941, and during this period of time was kind of in the middle of World War II. Nazi Germany was at its height. There was a lot going on in terms of violence and oppression. And during this period of time, May in particular, the British, I don't know what you would call them, government, elected Winston Churchill. And he became the person who a few years later finally led to the demise of the war and of the Axis powers and Nazi Germany in 1945. So basically, the person who helped reverse the roles of power at that period of time, who helped end the war that was obviously horrible, and I think you can again see here how like the good wins. So it's like the evil was winning at that time, but when Winston was elected, when things basically set into motion for there to be a reversal of power, was the same time Jupiter and Uranus came together. So I think that's very fascinating how these things happen. And so I think that also really goes to show that whatever happens this month is not necessarily going to be an immediate resolution of something. We can feel like we have a breakthrough. We can have this really important piece click into place. But again, we often won't see how that is so significant until we look back on this period of time retroactively and we can see, okay, yeah, that was the moment in time where I made this different choice or I had this new perspective that once I followed that path led me to a completely different reality. That timeline jump, that reversal of roles, that reversal of fortune, and enhanced my life to a really significant degree, or made a really noticeable difference in my life where a chapter was almost turned, but in a positive way, a resolution of something in a positive way. So it's really important right now not to put too much pressure on this period of time of seeing these amazing blessings and results, because those could take time to unfold, but those really important characters or pieces of the puzzle will click in together during this period of time when the Jupiter and Uranus come together in our chart. One other thing I think is important to note is that sometimes we also can't fully understand how significant this is for ourselves, but even more so from other people looking at our own lives. So we might, let me give you an example. So also when Jupiter and Uranus came together in Taurus, during this period of time in May 1941, the world's first programmable automatic computer was invented, which obviously sets the stage for this huge technological boom that we have had later, even more so now with Pluto and Aquarius. I think that's something that we can really get a sense of in this period of time. In April, there's probably going to be some technological advancements, maybe with AI or something else, where that sets the precedent for something much bigger later down the line. But there's going to be people who don't get it when it first comes out. Like when that computer first arrived, maybe there are people who didn't understand the purpose. This was 1941. This is a long time ago. So I don't know what level of technology people were aware of at that time, or what they thought it would be used for, if they even knew it existed. So there's a lot that I feel like could be shifting for us, even as a collective, but in our personal lives as well, where things that we have this guided intuition to do or to follow, it's so outside the box, it's so progressive, it's so ahead of its time that it's more likely to not be well received or to be misunderstood or even just kind of downplayed before it reaches its full pinnacle of success. And then people years from now will see how significant that thing really was. And I think that we can see that also with the example of Winston Churchill. He was elected during that period of time, or he was, moved into office or voted for at that period of time when that conjunction took place. But I don't know if anyone really knew that he was going to be kind of that big turning point in the war, for example, or that really significant player in the ending of a massive cycle of despair and destruction. So we can see how these things set into place now, but aren't always fully understood. So just really keep that in mind. So during these Jupiter-Uranus conjunctions, we can typically expect to have some kind of idea come through for us that we can bring to fruition. And that means that, again, the idea doesn't mean that the whole thing is completed. The results are not always here right away, although sometimes they will be. If you've been having an existing problem, you can come up with really powerful solutions to that problem, and you can have, again, some kind of turning point, especially in concerns with Taurus themed topics. So we're going to talk about that for each sign, because it's going to depend on what house you have Taurus in, the kind of problems or breakthrough or gift or blessing you could have as a result of these downloads or changes that you make in your life. But also, just talking about Taurus themes in general, this is very much related to the material world. This is related to our financial security, the kind of food that we eat, the cattle that we have on this earth, the nature itself, our clothes, our sense of security, our sense of stability, our sense of independence as well, being able to truly be autonomous in every sense of the word, our sense of worth and value and the feeling of what we bring to the table, and our own kind of inner resolution to be consistent or work hard or see things through and have positive results with things. So all of those are very Taurus topics. And so we can see that these this Jupiter Uranus conjunction can have some kind of breakthrough or shift concerning the material world or concerning those things that I just mentioned. One of the things that I think is really important with something like this is that we need to be aware of how impulsive an energy like this can be. So there are lots of benefits to this. This is a time of blessings, of breakthrough, of radical shifts that can really enhance our lives. But also sometimes what happens with the exuberance of Jupiter and the progressive, rebellious nature of Uranus, when they come together, they can sometimes not really see how they have maybe blind faith and optimism in the value of change and revolution, because that can be helpful, yes, of course, but also there can be an element of throwing everything out, the baby out with the bathwater, when there are things that are actually functioning and maybe just need revision, when there's wisdom from the past that we need to carry forward, but instead they're just rooting for what is new and progressive. So we really need to keep our heads kind of balanced and look at things through an unbiased perspective while still having faith and optimism. So can we look at the facts? Can we look at the data while still believing that there is a higher possibility and potential, but not getting so blinded by our faith that we refuse to acknowledge, real issues, or refuse to look at the entire equation and be truthful and honest with ourselves and others. Another aspect of this is that we can sometimes get a little bit overzealous and overcommit ourselves. We can scatter ourselves. We can not really have a necessary focus on this energy, which is interesting because it is in Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign, which tends to be very focused, very kind of committed to a particular vision or habit or way of being, so much so that they can almost have trouble, being too stagnant, or not stagnant necessarily, but like unwilling to change when it's required, unwilling to adapt. So this energy helps shake that up. It helps us adapt. But also, I think that this balance could be helpful because it could help maybe kind of focus these two planets. But that is a little bit of a risk where we might kind of scatter our focus, energy, attention, our money, our resources, and we could come to later regret that. So just being aware that change comes at a cost. Saying yes to something means saying no to something. Looking at the entire picture of things and being willing to listen to yourself with logic. So I think that's super, super important. I think this also has a very creative and imaginative energy, which is something I really love because it helps us tap into our higher mind, our higher consciousness, our higher self, so that we can reinvent or reset or renew something in our life. So this could look like revamping something old or starting something new, but that still reinvigorates us. So there's this energy of something coming back to life, especially in the house that this conjunction is happening in for you. So I think that's all I want to say about the general energy of this conjunction. Let's go ahead and jump into what this is going to look like for all the rising signs. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to comment and like this video, share with your friends so that we can get my channel out there. And I appreciate you guys so much. All right, next we have Scorpio rising and sun. For you, this Jupiter and Uranus conjunctions happening in Taurus on April 20th in your 7th house of relationships. If you haven't watched the overview, make sure you go and check that out because this is a rare 14-year transit that is going to help you jump timelines and have a breakthrough in some area of your life. Where I'm seeing this happen is the area of relationships. I feel like you guys have been maybe in a cycle with the Nine of Swords where you've been probably pretty worried about elements of relationships. I definitely have noticed this with Scorpios in my life, that they have had definitely some ups and downs with relationships. They've been concerned, they've had nightmares, they've been worried about the fate of their relationships, if they're going to find somebody, or if they're supposed to be with this person, or what it's going to look like. And so I feel like you guys have, some of you have had a lot of growing that you've been doing in this area of relationships, and maybe some tumultuous energy, or at the least some feeling of things not being able to just be the same. And I'm seeing some kind of completion here with the World card. The World card is like an ending of this cycle and a starting of a new cycle. So I'm seeing you guys have some kind of old relationship cycle, some patterns that maybe you've been going through with somebody that you're with, or if you've had some kind of relationship that you've been really on the fence about, you know, should I be with this person? Should I not? I'm seeing that come to an end, and there being some kind of really massive completion of this identification of, this is how I need to grow moving forward, and this is what I'm going to commit to or make the changes to do in order to free up my time, space, and energy to have a new beginning in this area of relationships, so that I'm not stuck in this period of worry or confusion or stress where things just feel like they're, again, unsettled and tumultuous. I feel like there's a putting your foot down, like a line in the sand of, I'm not moving past this point. I know how I'm moving forward. I know that this is decided either for me or from my point of view. And that is kind of what I feel like is happening. But I think that, you know, there's a new cycle starting, something being gifted to you as a result of coming to this conclusion. The gift is not the completion itself. The gift is what comes after the completion. So let's ask the universe what that gift is. What's coming after the completion? Okay. So I'm definitely seeing some healing happening here. With the Knight of Pentacles, I'm seeing that you guys have, and the Seven of Cups, I feel like many of you guys have been continuing forward with stuff that has been maybe kind of confusing. The Seven of Cups is somebody who has lots of options, somebody who's considering different paths. And I feel like this is just further describing what I was talking about earlier, where you were kind of staying in a pattern or on a path of overthinking things or having a lack of clarity about things. But you were still like showing up every day for it with this energy of like, what am I even showing up for? Is this the right decision? I don't know. I'm just going to do it anyway. It feels like that. It feels like this is, again, kind of describing the energy that you were in. And then I'm seeing with the King of Pentacles in reverse and the Three of Swords, some kind of ending to a dynamic, maybe letting things go, walking away from something that you've built up with somebody, walking away some kind of foundation. And this could be talking about also contracts as well. This could be talking about any kind of commitment in your life, but I think for many of you it will be relationship oriented, romantic relationship oriented, but not everybody. Some people it's going to be other kinds of relationships, or it's going to be a work contract where that is a relationship that you're entering into with that company and those people. So there's something where it's like you were kind of showing up, but you weren't sure if that was the right investment, or you were having anxiety or there's stress about the situation. There's something wasn't quite like right in that situation. It was unresolved. There was tension. There was something going on that was worrying you. And I'm seeing that you were showing up anyway in this state of confusion or not knowing where to put your energy or how this is going to manifest. And then I'm seeing you come into this phase here with the Three of Swords and the King of Pentacles in reverse of accepting some kind of defeat of something, accepting the ending of something, surrendering to the fact that I'm not going to be able to continue to invest my time and energy into this thing. It isn't working. I can't continue at this company. I can't continue with this friendship. I can't continue this partnership. They're walking away from me. I'm walking away from them. Whatever it is, there's some kind of downfall in your relationships that's going to make the way for some kind of new beginning. And I'm really seeing this as being, again, a very positive thing. There was something that was unsustainable. There was something that was causing upheaval or anxiety in your life that had to have some kind of completion in regards to it. And I'm seeing that this Jupiter Uranus conjunction, or even prior to it, is going to bring that completion. So Spirit, can I have more information about what happens after? Because I'm appreciate the, I feel like sometimes the Scorpios, like I get so strong messages for you, and this is so clear for my Scorpios, like this is an important message for you, but I'm wanting to know what happens after. So what's the gift from this after? Okay, what's the gift from this after? Any more information about what's the gift from this after? Okay, finally, there we go. Okay, so we're starting off with, there's two different gifts that you guys are getting. With the Devil and the High Priestess, I feel like you guys were feeling really trapped. The Devil is somebody who is in a cycle of addiction, who feels powerless to make changes over their lives, who feels like they lack agency because they are just so much like enjoying the temptation of something, or they think they're enjoying it, but actually it's not good for them. There's something in your life that wasn't good for you that you were stuck to. And this could actually be outside of this dynamic with this person or this entity. It's almost like this transformation of having kind of the ending or the completion of a relationship or a commitment to something or someone, and has transformed you so that you're able to go within and do this deep internal reflection, having this higher connection to yourself, to your higher self, maybe more time to meditate or to ask the deeper questions. It's almost like grief can often wear down these walls that we have over our soul and our heart, and it helps us get deep inside and sense, this has been wrong. I need to let go of my attachment to this. And everyone is going to have this differently with the Devil card. Some of you might have an addiction to food. Some of you might have an addiction to crisis. Some of you might have a literal addiction. Some of you might have been wasting time or distracting yourself in some way. But there's some way that you've been attached to something unhealthy or toxic in your life that has maybe been some kind of coping mechanism, or has been a way to run from things or lie to yourself, or you haven't fully seen it because of the relationship, because of how much attention that drew, or whatever this commitment was. It's like it took so much of your attention that there were other areas of your life that you were stagnating in, or that you were being crippled by, or that you weren't growing in because of some kind of unhealthy attachment to something. And then you're able, when this relationship ends, to finally spot what that unhealthy thing was, to spot where you felt like, even if it's a limiting belief, for many of you guys, it could be psychological, an attachment to a thought pattern, or any kind of relationship any kind of pattern. There's some attachment here where you're like, oh, I see this so clearly now, but I couldn't address this when I was in that dynamic because that took all the energy from me. Now I can address this. Now I can release myself from this. And by releasing yourself from that, I see you with the 10 of Wands in reverse, 8 of Wands upright. I see you dropping the burden. I see you dropping this feeling of having to exert yourself or take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'm getting a sense that you were working so hard on something in your life, maybe at this job or at this relationship, or at your personal growth, or at trying to achieve something. I'm seeing you work so hard for it, and it wasn't getting you where you thought you would go in the timing that you thought. You were feeling behind. You were feeling like you were expending so much energy for what you're getting in return. I'm seeing you drop all of that, and it's because there were attachments and cycles and addictions, or whatever this has, limiting beliefs, whatever this was, that were like sticking on to you, that were slowing you down, that were, again, having you take steps back even when you're trudging forward and exerting yourself. So you're letting that go with the 10 of Wands. You're fully releasing that overworking, overburden, and you're moving forward. You're flying forward with the 8 of Wands so quickly. You have lots of opportunities, lots of time to meet people. You're putting yourself out there more. You are maybe having new job opportunities. There's a feeling of things progressing in your life rapidly, things like picking up pace, energy, excitement, things feeling light, things feeling easy, things feeling fun. And for the first time, because you let down this burden that you're carrying for so long. So this feels like such a big deal for you guys. Let me pull a few more cards here. So any cards, Spirit, for Scorpio? We have ask your angels. So if there's something that you are needing guidance with in this process, I don't know where you're at along this process, but if you're needing any kind of support, this is the time to turn to your angels, ask for support. If you're needing clarity, if you're needing strength, if you're needing healing, if you're needing support to fully let something go, to heal from something, to decide something, to commit to something or walk away from something, ask your angels for support, because they're here for you, and it doesn't have to be that hard by doing it on your own. Ask for support, not just your angels. Ask other people around you for the emotional support. Be held, receive. That's going to be super important. Okay, can I have any messages for my Scorpios? I swear I was like meant to be a Scorpio because I feel so connected to you guys. I have the future. Wow. Okay, so that's another message I was getting from the Ask Your Angels that I didn't speak out loud, was that I feel like you guys are being asked to ask for what you want in your future. This is a time to visualize. This is time to write down. So instead of just focusing on what you're leaving behind, what you're releasing, what you're going through, this is the time to get very clear on what you want to take its place, what you want to manifest, what you want your next 5 to 10 years to look like, or even 5 to 10 months if that feels stressful. Just getting a sense of, I am intentionally and consciously manifesting and creating, co-creating with the universe, with my angels, asking for this. God, I don't want this pattern anymore. I want this instead. It's like this very intentional creation of your future, so that you don't kind of like haphazardly wind up where you were before by living unconsciously. No, this is all of your consciousness online, all of your energy online, going into a specific clear direction, and you guys getting what you ask for. I love this card so much. Live for the future. Almost when you're in that pain, live for the future. I know that might be not the best like thing to say, but it's just like, why harp on what's already happened? Scorpios can struggle with that. You can harp on things. You can have trouble letting things go, transmuting emotional energies. Let it go. Let it go. It's done. It's done and it's done. So move forward. What can you do from here? What can you learn from this? What can you change from this? How can you be empowered as a result of this? That's what I'm seeing for you guys. So don't forget to like this and subscribe, comment down below. Before you go, I wanted to let you know I am changing my brand and channel name to Cosmic Clarity Astrology. So write that down if you don't want to miss a video from me. If you want to, you can subscribe to my email list down below, and I will send you these videos directly, because I'm going to be changing up the imagery and everything like that. So I hope that you guys can still find me. And if you don't, the emails will be a direct way to receive them if you miss anything. So thank you so much for staying tuned, and I can't wait to see you guys next week. Bye.